Welcome to Where There's Wheels.
There's a play.
I'm Ian, your main complexity casual gamer.
I'm Stacey. I'm your non-gamer.
And today we're here with a 5 and dime for May of 2025 games played. I played a total of 11 games solo, a total of 17 times, with 2 of them being new to me. And we played 12 games, a total of 25 times. 7 of them were new to me.
And 9 were new to me.
Because 2 of them I had played on Board Game Arena before. So yeah. So for this 5 and dime, we are going to rank it. Recently, we've just been giving recommendations. We used to rank. Still trying to figure out the formatting for this and how we're going to do it. The way this is going to happen is, as always, though, I'm going to give 10 games, and
I'm going to give 5 games.
I will give my top 5 solo games and my top 5 games that we played together.
And I'm going to just give you my top 5 that I think you'll really enjoy.
That we played together.
Because
these are ranking, yes. So these aren't just recommendations. So these ones are actually ranked. These are actually our top 5 games for the month.
Normally I do alphabetical, but Ian's making me rank them.
Well, it made sense for this specific one. Next week we'll be back, going back to our recommendations from years, and those ones will just be probably alphabetical. We may go back to ranking. We're still trying to figure out how we're gonna do this with our new formatting and stuff.
I just feel wrong ranking because it's like I don't want to make one game feel bad. That's why I do alphabetical.
Okay, games don't have
they
feelings.
do.
Games and people like rankings.
Okay.
People like rankings, so people like things ranked.
I like alphabetical, but today I'm going to do rankings.
Right. Okay, so let's get on to it. My number 5 solo game is, well, I'm cheating a little bit because there's actually 2 games in this list that really are a tie, and those of you that play solo gaming or have played these games are going to see why. And these 2 games are Railroad Inc. by Horrible Guild and Next Station London by Blue Orange. These games are very similar to each other. It's very hard to like put one above the other. So in Railroad Inc. on the left, you have dice that you're rolling, and you're drawing routes of roads and railroads into these different sides around the side. This is also showing the lake expansion in the middle there. You can see a big lake, and you're scoring points based on your longest routes, your longest railroads, your longest roads, how many routes around the outside you've connected on a single route, and some other different scoring criteria, including how many things you've covered in the middle 9 squares, and your lake, because it has a lake expansion on it. Next Station London is very similar in that you are building routes, but you are using the cards, either the cards all the way on the right or the ones with the pink top on them, and you're starting at a different color starting station, and you are drawing to a line. You're drawing a line that goes to the symbol that is on the card, and you're scoring each round. You're starting from a different starting station with a different color, and you're scoring based on the number of spaces you have in a single area, the total number of spaces, and then you're adding in the total number of regions that you visit, the multiplied by the number of spaces in a single region, and then adding in the number of times you've crossed the river. You add that up. You also then add in some points at the end. How many different stations you visited with 2, 3, or 4 different trains, and then you have some other little areas you can visit. If you visit them, you mark them down on the bottom, and you get your final score. So that is Railroad Inc. by Horrible Guild and Next Station London by Blue Orange, my solo number 5. Like I said, they're very similar games to each other. One's a rolling right, one's a flipping right. You're building routes with both of them, so it was really hard to kind of like put one above the other. So that is my solo number 5 for the month of May. On to you.
And my play together number 5 that I ranked is a game that I really enjoy. It has cats, and you have to beat each other in order to get moved around. So with Boop, you have a playing board. And
by Smirk and Dagger
oh,
Games.
I'm sorry, by Smirk and Dagger Games. In the game of Boop, you have a playing board with a comfy little quilt on the top of it. You have your kittens that you start playing with. And when you place your kittens, you can place them next to your opponent and you can boop their kittens a spot diagonally, horizontally, vertically, whichever direction. You try to get your kittens 3 in a row. Once you get your kittens 3 in a row, you can replace them with an adult cat. Once you get your adult cats on the quilt, all in a row, you win. But you can't boop kittens to an adult. You only adult cats can boop adult cats, and you have to say the word boop when you one of the other cats.
Yeah.
This is a really fun game. If you can think vertically, horizontally, straight up and down, this is a game for you. I have troubles with that. It's kind of like tic-tac-toe in a way, but you can once the other player puts their piece next to you and you're getting close to being in a row, it boops you out of the way, but you can't boop if you're right next to each other. So that's a bonus, but all the rules are in the box. I think you'll enjoy it, so check it out if you haven't already.
That is Boop by Smirk and Dagger Games. Good choice. Good
Thank you.
choice. Definitely better on the tabletop. The tactile feel and the quilt is better than just clicking on BGA.
The quilt is adorable.
Yeah,
It's actual little
yeah,
quilt.
it's actually like a little quilt. It's pretty impressive. It's,
Pretty
it's a
cute.
good component. That's for sure.
Yes.
My number 5 for the month is a modern classic at this point. It is the game that got us into the hobby. We got to the table because last month it was train month on the showcase wall, and this is Ticket to Ride by Days of Wonder. I think if you're watching this, you probably know how to play Ticket to Ride, but Ticket to Ride is a route building game where you are taking cards that are of the same color. You're taking and you are connecting cities via the routes, scoring points depending on how long those routes are. Trying to connect longer routes between cities that are across country or maybe a little bit closer to each other. So you're scoring points during the game. In Ticket to Ride, there's also the longest train and the most routes bonus. Like I said, I think most people that are watching this have probably heard of or played some version of Ticket to Ride. It is still one of our favorites. It was fun having it on the wall last month and getting out. I think at this point, I kind of prefer some of the quicker city ones and some of the variants, but it is fun to get Ticket to Ride back out. So that is Ticket to Ride by Days of Wonder, my number 5 of the month.
Choice. I do like the city ones as well.
Yeah, they just play quicker, they're easier to set up and
but
stuff.
But when you have more time and you want to just kind of shoot the breeze, talk about
you just want to revisit the classic.
Yeah,
yep,
that one's a good one. My number.
Moving on.
I'm moving on. Look at me jumping ahead. Number 4.
My solo number 4, as well as my number 4 and Stacey's number 4. Yes, our number 4 is completely lined up with this. We did our rankings on Pub Meeple, and this completely matched up. Like it was crazy. I'm like, oh, our number 4s are completely the same across the way. This is a tile push your luck game about diving into the ocean, and this is Deep Dive by Flat Out Games and AEG. Oh, you take the lead on this one.
In Deep Dive, you are a penguin in your little family of 3 penguins. And you are starting at the top and you're trying to dive your way down to the bottom. The further down you dive, the more points that you achieve in getting in your tiles. Maybe getting, you could possibly get eaten by another predator or by a predator.
So trapped. Like, you don't actually eat them. They're just trapped. They're not actually eaten. They trap them.
They trap
It's a friendly game. They don't actually eat them.
So you start at the top and you flip your top tile in the top row there. And if you get a, was it orange, red, or green?
If you get a treasure, a rock, or if you get a treasure or a rock, you can choose it and stop.
Yes. But you can also choose to go on to the next row. If you end up getting bubbles, you are forced to go down to the next section and turn a tile in that row. If you get another bubble, then you're forced again to go down. Or if you don't get a bubble and you get a tile that's worth points, you can go down to the next level as well. The further down you go, the more points those tiles can be worth, but also the more predators you may end up getting. Now, the kicker to this is before you start the game, you take out a certain number of tiles depending on how many players there are. You take out a certain number of tiles, so you don't know if you're taking out points tiles or you're taking out predator tiles. So that is a big mystery on what you may be getting when you go down. So you're collecting groups of threes. So you get one of each color. I believe it's green,
yellow, and pink.
Yellow and pink.
Yeah, you're getting sets of. Oh, it's not treasures. It's
fish.
It's fish. So yeah, you're getting
shrimp,
yeah.
clams. But anyway, so you're trying to get groups of three of one of each color, and you're um trying to get as many of those as you can in those sets. You add up your points at the end, and whoever has the most points wins.
Yeah.
And you can also get stuck. So if you flip over a tile with your penguin and it's a predator, you leave your penguin on that tile. And so you go to your next two penguins. As soon as all three penguins are trapped by predators, I can't remember what
you draw that. You take them all back into your hand.
That's right.
And then you can take any tile from any one of the different depths of the ocean that one of your penguins is on. The other thing, so there's also rock tiles. The rock tiles come in very handy because if you take a rock tile or tile that has rock on it, you can swallow that rock to dive as far down as you want. So if someone were to flip something over in the fourth depth, but then they pushed their luck to the fifth depth, and then they got trapped, and you have a rock, you could go down and take that. And like Stacey said, the further down, the higher point value are. The way the scoring works is for every complete set, you get full points. For every incomplete set, you only get half points.
Rounded.
So rounded down. So you definitely want to get those full sets. So late in the game, what happens is you start taking those, you might have some really big numbers late in the game, and you start taking those small numbers because you want to get those sets completed, so you can score those. And then the game end triggers when an entire row has been completely flipped over. So when every tile in a different depth has been flipped over, the game end triggers. Everybody gets one more chance. At that point, you can treat those rows like they're bubbles, and you can actually skip past them if you want to go past them. So yeah, Deep Dive by Flat Out Games, AEG. It was a huge hit. In the solo mode for this, basically you play exactly the same, and the AI opponent, they just every round they just go down to the next level. They will collect, they will automatically collect a tile. If I remember correctly, I played it like once, I think. Or no, I did get this twice. So they will collect the tiles. They will get sets of tiles, but they automatically go down every single round. So and they don't, and they just use one penguin, so they don't actually get trapped. They just don't get something in that round when if they flip over a predator, but they automatically every round they just go to the next one, and then it goes back up and it keeps on going down. And then there's some different levels of scoring for that. In You could do the medium, where then every rock tile scores, and I think you can get where every bubble tile scores as well. So you can get some different scoring in there. So yeah, the solo in this one worked really well. It was very easy to run, and your game is exactly the same. And even though they're just moving down the next one every time, they're still collecting sets and stuff if they can. They just flip over a tile. They don't necessarily get sets because they just take what they're getting. But it does work really well. So that is Deep Dive by Flat Out Games and AEG. Moving on to our number three. My number three solo game for the month is one that I've talked about. It is one of my top flipping rights of all time right now. It has a great use of dual use cards, and this is Pioneer Rails by Dranda Games. In Pioneer Rails by Dragon Games, you are flipping over cards and making poker sets. You are using these cards for two things. One of them is you are looking at the suit and you are drawing on the board on your pad, connecting rail lines from that suit around the board. As you're doing that, you are surrounding different areas. Some of them, and depending on what the different um, tile or the different hexes are, you may need to surround it one time, two times, three times, four times, and then you get to mark it off. So you might be collecting gold. You might be banking that gold if you get a bank. You might be having to separate out different cattle ranches so they're completely separated for other ones, and you get to circle those. If you connect to cities, you can use bonuses. Those bonuses, those special powers allow you to cut through the middle of a mountain range, draw a bridge, do a branch off of a rail line. And then the other thing you're doing is you're using the value of the card to make poker hands every round. Every round you are doing that, and you get points at the end for that. And if you circle a saloon, if you circle the saloons, you get to double your points for that round on your poker hand. At the end of the game, you add up all your points and you see what your score is. Now, in a multiplayer game, you have different gold cards which are shown above the pad of paper there and then you score those depending on if you're the first person or second person or whatever to get them. In the solo game, you deal out one card from each one of the different decks, and then you shuffle all the decks together, and you can deal out cards to make it more difficult. The way it works in the solo game is when you fulfill the the goal, you just flip it over. Any goals that you don't have at the end of the game, it adds points to your target goal. So I think the starting target is 50 or 60. For every goal card you don't fulfill, it adds 10 points to that goal. So you do have a target goal that you are facing in this game, and if you don't hit it, you lose. So I really like it. I did back this one on Kickstarter, so I also have a couple little mini packs. There's a Joker. There's a couple of Jokers, which count as two different suits. You can use one during the game. I also have a separate set of pad of papers, which is not like the desert; it's more like forest. It's green, and so there's some different things you can do in there as well. Really fun game. I really like the use of the dual use cards in this for rolling right or flipping right. So this is Pioneer Rails by Dranda Games. Our number three also matches up. Yes, even though we played 12 games together, we matched up quite a bit.
It's been some good gaming this month.
It was some good gaming, and we just the games we played, we just really enjoyed together. So,
Hmm.
our number three game for the month it comes to us from Capstone Games, and this is a tile game where you
Hmm.
are moving around, sliding stuff around the board, trying to collect sets of fruit, and this is Juicy Fruits.
By Capstone
Yes.
Games. I like juicy fruits. And I like the gum as well.
Yeah. So in Juicy Fruits, each person has a board of their own, and you have boats around the outside of it. You place five of your starting fruit tokens. When you move your fruit tokens, you slide them and you gain that much fruit for how many spaces you fruit you how many spaces you fruit. How many
Oh,
spaces you move, you get that many fruit tokens. So in the beginning, is an interesting puzzle because you've only got the 9 spaces in the middle, and 5 of those are even covered because the entire outside of your board has boats on them. Then what you are going to end up doing is you're going to end up um, fulfilling the contracts on the boats basically to move those out of the way so you can move your fruit different spaces. You can also get some other tiles onto your board that score points or help you gain stuff a little quicker. When you do this, though, it fills space on your board in order to move around. So you got to be very careful when you do that. There's depending on how many people are playing, there's a certain number of contracts that need to be fulfilled. So every time you take one of the extra tiles off of the central board on the right there, you move the round track or the timer basically down. Um, and then you are so you're trying to move your boats off your board by filling them with the proper fruits that you have, and then you are also trying to kind of upgrade your tiles that are moving around on it.
yes.
And then this is actually showing on the left central board. It is showing the flip side of the board, which has the juicy or the juice factory
Mm-hmm.
scoring. So there's some other things on there. You can move across there and score some points to make juice and everything. Um, this was a really fun game.
I like this game.
This is one that was sitting on our shelf for a while. Um, Finally got it out. It's really funny because it seems like a lot of bigger name content creators finally got off of their shelf of shame as well in May, because I saw this on at least two, if not three, other lists for May
Oh.
games of bigger name content creators that were like, "Oh, we finally got it. We finally played it. We finally. Oh, I thought we had this, but we didn't, and now we have it, and we played it. It was real." I'm like, wait, we just learned that as well. So I don't know. May
Mm-hmm.
must have been Juicy Fruit Month or
Hmm.
something.
Well, the thing I like about Juicy Fruit is that it kind of reminds me of, in the 80s when you had that little plastic board with the numbers on it and you had to move the numbers to get them from 1 to
Mm,
10 or whatever it was. It reminds me a lot of that, where
yeah.
you have to move your
Yes.
fruit around and you have to be
Yes.
able to move your bananas so you can get your
Yeah.
strawberries up. And you have to be able to move them a certain number of spots to earn those fruits. And then in the juice factory section, you still have to earn those fruits in order to move through so that you can bottle your juice. Um, so, in order to move it over to the next juice factory, you'll have to have a different type of fruit, and then you can move it. Like each row may have two different fruits that you need to get, and then you can kind of race to the end of that, because only one person can get to the very, very end, can't
Yeah, there's
they?
two spots at the
Mm-hmm.
end, but once they're
One's
filled, and those are contracts, so those are
mm-hmm.
also timer things. So
Yeah, so I do like that. It kind of adds another level to it because there are stores that you can also earn different bonuses from going to those as well. So I really do like Juicy Fruits. I think for non-gamer gamers, it's easy to understand. It progresses nicely. There's not a lot of that you need to do during your turn, which
mm,
I hate, where you have to have 9 different things to be able to finish your turn. It's easy to understand. So Juicy Fruits, you've won
yes,
my heart.
some of those upgrade tiles score based on some things you have.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them allow you, when you move it, to choose between two different fruits, which is very powerful. Sometimes like, oh, I want to be able to choose, and you can mix and match however you want. So if you move four spaces, you can go, oh, I'm gonna take two of these and two
Mm-hmm.
of these. And then some of them are like basically like houses, but they take up a lot of space on your board, but they also score a lot of points at the end. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Juicy Fruits was a big hit for us as well. I said it was both of our number threes for the month.
For us.
Moving on to our number twos. My number two solo game for the month is one that I played. Did a I don't think it was a live playthrough. I think I recorded the playthrough. This comes to us from Thunderworks Games, and this is Role Player, which I will be getting back to because I do want to cover the Monsters and Minions and the Fiends and Familiars expansions as well. So those will be coming. Just got a little bit busy after I did this. So those will be coming hopefully this month at some point. So in Role Player, you're basically building a Dungeons and Dragons type character by rolling dice and placing them into those little spaces there in the middle of your board. You have a some different criteria you're trying to fulfill as well. You're trying to put certain dice in certain spots in each row. You are also trying to get a certain score in each row. When you place a dice in each one of the different criteria, so it's like agility and dexterity and intelligence and strength. So your basic things, your basic attributes for a Dungeons and Dragons type character, you're trying to score a certain number of points. When you do place dice into the different spots. You can also manipulate dice other ways. One of the things allows you to flip a dice over on your board to the other side. So if you have a one, you can make it a six. So sometimes you can plan those out where like, I know I'm going to need a six here. I'm going to place the one here so that when I place something later, I can turn it into a six. You are also the little cube on the left side of your board. You're moving that around on from one of your attributes, and you are gaining or losing points at the end of the game from that. During the game, you are also earning gold or spending gold in order to get weapons and abilities and traits and armor, and that scores at the end of the game as well. Really like this game. Really like this game. It's not that complicated. I have everything for it, and I mean everything. I have all the promos. I have lots of different characters. Each different board, which is a different race, plays differently because each one of those the abilities and some things that you add one or you add subtract one on the attributes at your end game scoring is different, and then you have the different things around your board that you are trying your background story and your what type of character you are. Like, are you a wizard? Are you a sorcerer? So there's like different ones based on the color. And then you also have the little one on the side, which I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, that you move around. So every time you play this, it's going to be the same basic gameplay, but you're going to play differently because first of all, the dice are rolling differently and the cards are coming up differently, but also you're trying to do things in different order. You're trying to put different dice in different spots. You're trying to score different points in each one of the attribute rolls. So I really like this one. I've played Monsters and Minions expansion. It just adds a little bit to it. I didn't play it last month, but I do want to cover that on the channel, and then Fiends and Familiars as well. So that was my number 2 solo. That is Role Player by Thunderworks Games. Moving on to our number 2.
Two for me is a new game that I
And to me,
learned.
we matched again.
The heck, are you stealing my games? Wheels, you're making me mad. So my number 2 is also Ian's number 2, and this is a new game that I learned this month. What, didn't I?
Yes, this was new to us this month.
Okay, I can never remember how to say it.
Dorf Romantic, the board game by Pegasus Spiel.
Dorf Romantic. I don't know why they call it Dorf Romantic. I can't figure out why the name.
Because there was a video game called Dorf Romantic.
Oh,
which is why this is called Dorf Romantic, the board game. I don't know why it's Dorf Romantic. I'm sure it means something, and I'm sure I've looked it up, and I just don't remember. But yes, Dorf Romantic, the board game.
I like this game. It kind of like you do one thing and then you undo it in a way. So first you are trying to move all of your people. So basically you have this city and you are trying to build your city, and you have your little characters that you are moving over to the oh my gosh, my mind just it goes blank every time. Yeah. You're up, Wills.
Okay, so this is a cooperative campaign game where you are drawing tiles and placing them, trying to extend out your different routes of different things, or like your trains, or your water, yes, or your cities, or your forests, and you're trying to score them. So the city wants you to have the citizens want different things. So like they might want 4 water in a row. So as soon as you place the 4 water row, if you have that goal out there, because you only have a certain number of goals at a time, if you have that goal out there on a tile, you score those points. So you're trying to get as many of those as possible. As you play, you're scoring points. For those, you are scoring points based on a lot of different things. And then at the end of the game, depending on how many points you score, you get to move and you get to open up some different things. We played this at the beginning of the month, so I should have looked up a little bit more. So you have some different criteria you're trying to fulfill. And it's just a really fun tile laying game. It's cooperative, so that's a fun part too as well. Yeah, sorry. I should have.
No, you're good, because when I voted for this game, I thought it was a different game.
Oh.
So hence why I said you do and then you undo, because I thought it was the one where you move your characters over to the side of the board and then you move those and then anyway. What was that game?
I don't know.
Okay. But I do like this game after looking and seeing what it was. I do, and I probably would have voted this as my number 2 game anyway.
All right, Dorf Romantic, the board game by Pegasus Spiel.
So I had a hard time remembering because I was explaining another game.
Moving on to number 1. Okay, number 1. My number 1 solo game also comes to us from Thunderworks Games, and this is Stone Spine Architects. I did play this one live on camera, and I think it was the first time I actually ever won this solo, because Jael, or Jael, I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it, Jael, is very hard to beat. So in Stone Spine Architects, it is a card drafting game, and you are drafting cards to build your 4x4 dungeon. Every round you are drafting cards for 1 row. You're placing them in. There are 2 different types. There's mountain, and then there's so there's the mountain, and then there's the yellow ones. So there's two different types of rooms that can go into your dungeon. You are trying to fulfill a blueprint over on the right side of the dungeon. You can see there's a blueprint. It is asking you to put certain types of rooms in certain spaces and also certain other objects. It could be monsters, it could be traps, or gold or stars in different spaces because you can score on that. So in the solo mode, you will start with 5. You put one into your dungeon. You can save one for the next round. What Jael does, or Jail, what he does is, depending on what card is currently face up on his board, he will take all the cards of whatever color is showing. So you're trying to make sure you're not giving him cards. And then you, at the end of the round, you will get gold to spend. Jail always starts with, depending on what card is face up, it will tell you how much gold he has for that round. And then if you have more gold than him, you will get to spend first. Otherwise, he will take away some things. As soon as you go below him on gold, he will take away some things. So you can try to manipulate that to try and figure out what he's going to take. At the end of the round, also, you can take a personal goal card. There's also an end game scoring, depending on how much gold, whoever has the most gold, and then whoever has the most of whatever object is looking for, whether it's a certain type of enemy or a trap or the plus minus stars. So you play through 4 rounds. Every round plays exactly the same. After you have your first card, you will draw cards up to one more than the number of rooms you have available. So after you play your first card, you have three spaces available in a round. You will draw 3 new cards, so you have 4 in your hand. You do the same thing every single round. You always get to keep one. And then at the end of the game, you are also scoring based on different sets. JL will score based on the 4 cards that he has played, basically that have been played during the round, based on some different things. So he may score on the traps, he may score on a goblin, he may score on a slime or an ooze. So yeah, so this is a really fun game. It's a really interesting puzzle as to what you're building, when you're building it. I've played this a lot on Board Game Arena as well with some friends of mine. We play this we have a game going this almost constantly since it came on there. I enjoy this solo. I enjoy this multiplayer. This is a great game. This is Stone Spine Architects by Thunderworks Games. And drum roll, number 1 for the month. For both of us, once again, yes, that's right. Our numbers 4 through 1 all completely matched up. What is our number one for the month?
My number 1.
And my number 1
was Creature Comforts by KTBG Gaming. Oh, I guess it's just KTBG.
Kids Table Board Gaming.
Yes. Creature Comforts, you are some forest critters and you are trying to get your home ready for some visitors to come and for the fall harvest, I believe.
No, this one you're preparing for winter. You're thinking of
preparing-
Maple Valley.
Yes, I am.
So you're preparing for winter.
So you're going through 3 seasons. You're going through spring, summer, and fall. And each month or each season, items will be available to purchase or win. And then they'll go away and then they will not be available. So you have to plan accordingly. You have your home dice, which are your 2 dice that you will roll. You'll roll those. You'll put your critters onto the board where you think those numbers are going to come up. And then you have the family dice.
Village dice.
Village dice.
Family dice are the first ones are village dice.
Yes.
Family dice, not home dice. So
okay.
Family dice and then village dice.
I call them what I want. It's a home rule in the book. But okay, so you've got your 4 dice then that you take turns rolling, and you will roll those, and then once those are rolled, then you will figure out if you successfully got the goods that you need to get the items that you need to get your goods for that season. So you'll have 2 or 3, is it 2 or 3 cards in front of you?
3.
3
you can
cards,
have 3 max
up to 3 cards that will need different items to be able to successfully complete that card. You will set the completed cards off to the side, and then you will keep taking your turns, rolling your 2 dice and your in the what are they? The family dice
It's
and the
family days and the village dice.
village dice. And then once you trigger the end game and you go through a couple visitors that will also assist you along the way, then you add up your cards. Some of the cards can be beneficial to help other cards, such as if you have a scarf, or they call it a muffler. If you have a muffler and skates, ice skates, let's say, then you'll get some bonus points. Or you can actually get bonus points if your card comes up, and you can actually get points if you're uh, somebody else at the table playing the game has winter items that can add you a bonus as well.
Yeah, from the improvements.
Once you and the improvements that are up along the top of the board, and the improvements can help you with bonuses along the way as well. And coins you can coins you can win as well. You can get what is it? I won't go through all of the items that you can have
Book
to.
you can get books. So
Yep.
yeah, so
You can also get sets of
yeah,
items
so you're
that you can put on
preparing.
there.
Yeah, like they said, you're preparing your lodge for the winter. You're getting comforts to make your lodge more comfortable, but you're also getting improvements. Um, this is the tall board, so this picture has to be turned sideways. So the right side of the picture is actually the top of the board. So the top of the picture, which is the left side of the board, has your improvements, and those things allow you to kind of do some extra things during the game, or gives you spaces where people might be able to move and get things. And then the comforts allow you to is where you're kind of like getting the majority of your points from. Um, at its core, this is your basic worker placement, resource management, kind of set collection sort of game. Like Stacey explained, the coolest part about this game, and the part about this game which I really love, is the family dice and village dice, because you have two family dice. You roll those. You have to place your four meeples on their spots before the village dice are rolled, so you don't know if you are going to be able to actually get the stuff where you're like, I really need that. I've got two dice. I think a dice is going to probably come up. And then it doesn't, because
Yeah.
the four other dice don't roll your way. I think that is such a unique thing where you don't just get to go, I want that. I'm going to place my worker there and I'm going to get those two apples, that wood, and that mushroom, because you don't know if you can. You have two known things and you have four unknown things. So you have to place your four workers based on just like 1/3 of the numbers being known. If you don't get to now, that may sound very punishing, like, oh, I'm not getting anything. The good thing is, if you can't actually get something from a worker, you get what is called a lesson learned. So you get a little token that allows you to manipulate the dice on a future turn. You can move it up or down by one. If you have more than one lesson learned, you can move it up or down by two if you wanted. You can move it up and down however many you want. So there is just something about that, like that mechanic in the game, where you are placing your workers not completely blind,
Kind of.
but
Not really.
66% of the way blind. Like, you are 2/3 of the way blind as to whether or not you're going to be able to do it. And you're placing four workers. Some of the cards up in the forest and meadow area, they need three. They need two or three dice. The rest of the stuff around the board only needs one, but you need two or three dice. So you're really hoping that those dice really come up if you don't have them. So there's just something about that mechanic that I really, really like.
The thing I like about this is with each season comes a new visitor. So that visitor can also bring you different ways to earn goods or coins along the way as well. And then with each season, as you flip them, the dice that you have to place on them change as well. So you may have to have all equal dice. You may have to have a total of, 7 or higher, or 5 or lower, or, three dice that are, you know, consecutive order. So it's a different game every time you play it because of the way that the cards flip each season and the visitors that come up with those cards. So I really enjoy this game. To me, comfort is part of the game. It's a comfort game for me. This is one of those games that when it's snowy and crummy outside, I'm just like, let's play a game of creature comforts. It's got soup and it's got wool blankets
Yeah.
and socks, and it just makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. This one, yeah, like Stacey said, you every season you are changing out the visitor into the inn. You're changing out the cards up top for what's available and what you need in order to go to them. You are rotating the river things, so
Mm-hmm.
different numbers are on different things. You are always discarding one card out of the owl's nest, which is where the comforts come from, and the shed or whatever it is, I can't remember exactly what it's called, where the improvements come from. You're always discarding the bottom or leftmost card, so those cards are constantly going through. If you take a card, it gets replaced. So you're constantly getting new things, which does help keep the game fresh. Now, I will say, playing it at 2 players is great. I've played it at 3 at my board game club. That's good as well. As much as I love this game, I would not play this game at above 3 players.
Oh.
Because the downtime in
Mm-hmm.
between, because it's not simultaneous, and there are some ways people have tried to make it simultaneous, but the thing with that is it's not going to be simultaneous. So wonderful game, love this game. Probably one of my, I mean, when we eventually do our top games all the time, this, I would not be surprised if this is in my top 10, top 20 for sure. Like, this is just, I love everything about the game. So yeah, so that is Creature Comforts by Kids Table Board Gaming.
Love it.
Well, there you have it, guys. There is our five and dime for the month of May. My top 5 solo, and each of our top 5 games that we played together, and numbers 1 through 4 were exactly the same.
Not a big variety this
Not a big
month.
variety, but with our rankings, that's not always going to happen.
Yeah.
So because especially when we played 12 games, it just happened to be that the top 4 just obviously really stood out for us. And actually, our number 6 and 7 were our 5, 6, and 7 were the same 5, 6, and 7, just in a different order. So our top 7 games were all the same, but 5, 6, and 7 were just in a slightly different order. So, well, there you have it, everyone. There is our May 2025 top 5 games, solo and 2-player. Once again, this has been Where There's a Will,
There's a play.
I'm Ian.
I'm Stacey.
And we'll see you next time
at the table.